Hi YouTube, welcome back. Today, I'm going to can up some pizza sauce. Stay tuned. Now, this is not what you would call tomato season, but all summer long, I was throwing my tomatoes into the freezer. Because you can. You can put them all in the freezer until you're ready to can them. And then I concentrated on the things that you couldn't do that with, like pickles, relish, green beans. And the tomatoes I kept throwing in the freezer. Well, my family has protested about the lack of freezer space because I had about 40 pounds of tomatoes in there. So, it's time to start doing something with them. There's going to be 2 videos with 2 totally separate recipes in case anyone wants to watch one and not the other. So you don't have to fast forward through the one you don't care about. So to start using those tomatoes, I'm going to make some pizza sauce. This is a recipe out of the Ball canning book. And I'm actually not altering this one. Write that down for the books. I'm actually doing a canning recipe that I'm not changing. The recipe measurement actually requires me to puree the tomato and measure it that way, as opposed to just the straight weight before you start doing anything with them. Plus, these are already cored, so it may not take all of these. But it suggests about 9 pounds of tomatoes. So we're going to start there and see how much I get in puree. I need 13 cups of tomato puree. I'm using my immersion blender again. Yay! That's the best, like, 15 bucks I ever spent was that immersion blender. It's awesome. Anyway, I'm going to get these thawed and get that started. We'll be right back. Alright, well, we've got roughly about 13 cups of tomato puree over here. I'm going to measure it out exactly, but I know this part in the bowl is roughly how much I need. And I had a little tripod error. So I'm holding the camera. But just going to measure it out. It's just tomato puree, nothing else added yet. I did take most of the skins off, like the recipe says, but I don't have a food mill or anything, so there's still some seeds in there. I don't care. I don't. It's just not going to bother me. So I'm going to leave it a minute. But I'm going to measure this out and then get it going on the stove. We'll be right back. Well, what I had was pretty near exact 13 cups. Now, the directions for some reason say to put half of it in the pot and boil it on high. And then keeping it at a boil, slowly add the rest in 1 cup at a time. I don't understand the science behind it, but it's my first time making pizza sauce or this recipe, so I'm going to follow the directions, even though I don't really know why. Alright, we've got everything added in slowly, just like the directions said. It's not bubbling a whole lot because I'm stirring it, but it's on a smaller burner because I've got the canner going. But now it's time to add a ½ cup of lemon juice. Yes, ½ cup. And our spices, which is 1 teaspoon of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And then it says 2 teaspoons of oregano. It also says you can add more however much you want. So it's more like a tablespoon or 2 of oregano because it's delicious. But now we need to stir a lot and let it boil for 15 minutes or until it's the right consistency. Well, whoever makes up these recipes likes bland food. It just tasted like tomato puree with a tiny bit of oregano in it. So, since, you can add more of your spices as you want, you just have to keep the lemon juice. I quadrupled the spices that it called for. And I added basil and onion powder. Since there's no onions in it, I wanted some onion. It did not need to boil high for 15 minutes. It could have simmered on low or medium low, anyway, for like 20 minutes and it would have been fine. I don't know why the whole slow adding thing, because I looked up other recipes and they didn't have any of that. But I also decided to do more smaller half-pint jars because we usually don't use a whole lot of sauce at one time, even though the recipe calls for the pint jars, like 5 pint jars. I'm going to do 2 pints and the rest half pints. As I always do, using vinegar to wipe the rims, not just water. And we're going to process for, I think it was 35 minutes. I'll be more sure of that when we come back. And for your headspace, you want a 1/2 inch. Well, they're all done. I processed for 35 minutes, and I got a total of 2 pints and 5 half pints. And it's delicious. Thanks for coming along with me today. Remember, life's an adventure. Thanks for joining me in mine. God bless.